of variance. A variance is the difference between expected performance and actual results. An example would be a company budgets for their direct materials to cost $3 per unit. In reality, the unit costs $5 per unit. A variance is the difference between these two costs.
The uses of price variance analysis. Variance analysis brings together the planning and control sides of management. It makes it easier for management to determine what activities are not operating as expected. Variances also help management evaluate performance after they implement changes in their system or process. Lastly, with the combination of management and variance analysis, a company has the ability to fine-tune strategies for constant improvement in performance.
Examples of variances. First is the flexible budget variance, which is the difference between an actual result and the corresponding flexible budget amount. Second is the sales value variance, which is the difference between the actual amount of units sold and the budgeted units to be sold. Third is price variances, the difference between actual price and budgeted price. Next is the efficiency variance, which is the difference between the actual input quantity used and the budgeted input quantity allowed. An example would be how many hours anticipated to make one unit versus how many hours are actually used. Next is the static budget variance, which is the difference between the actual results and the corresponding budgeted amounts in the static budget.
Potential causes of price variances are market price changes, quality of materials, inefficient manufacturing standards, and unreliable supply chains.
I'm Bonnie Pearson, and I own and operate Wire Vendors. We manufacture custom electrical components for cockpit electronics and communications equipment.
Do you incorporate price variance procedures in any of your bookkeeping?
Everywhere. We, our operators, when they're working on something, record their times in real time.
Okay.
And they have specified budgets they're expected to meet.
Okay.
And they record their times and compare their actual times to those budgets. We can't wait till after the project is done and summarize it at the end, because by then all the money's gone.
Right.
So we have to do it as we go. Although at the end, we will review the job completely from one end to the other and check it for things that went right, went wrong, could have went better, to see if we can't improve it for next time. So whether we made or lost money on this particular run, we do better in the next one. Okay. On 'em.
So what are possible reasons that the budgets or actual costs of your company differ?
Any decision you made in the quoting process is a risk. I mean, my office manager goes out, she'll price the materials, but the customer may not come back and order for 6 months. We could have had a price increase on the materials that we quoted to use the part.
Okay.
Any decision the engineers made when they looked at the drawing about how hard this part was going to be to work on, or what was going to be involved in making it. Every assumption, every decision's a place for something to go wrong. Employees simply have good days, bad days. Tooling breaks. March Madness comes along and everybody's talking basketball instead of working. Loss, parts fall off the table, get stepped on. Unexpected wasted material, inefficiencies, anything you can think of.
Okay. So what courses of action do you take to correct or rethink problems with price variance?
First, we try and sit down with the operators who actually worked on the part, and we ask them what challenges they faced. Do they need new tools? Do they need new tooling? Better lighting? Is the person next to them maybe better suited for this job than they are? Everybody around here is not created equal.
Mm-hmm.
We look at basically everything. Did we waste time packaging them? Did we maybe make them too well? Sometimes my customers don't care if the parts are a little dusty or a little dirty or something. We wasted too much time building something the customer didn't really care about.
Mm-hmm.
So we can we rewrite our process, we'll examine everything from one end to the other.
As far as like wasted material, and learning from that, do you find that you may have to buy from a different vendor or something depending on if something seems not that not that high in quality? Or do you typically not run into that problem?
90% of what we buy is commercial, off-the-shelf, mass manufactured products. I don't run into very many quality problems with that stuff. It's built by the bazillions and it's monitored very carefully. The big problems I have are the small manufacturers I work with, like the local machine shops and things like that do custom work for me. They require a lot more keeping an eye on than the big ones. And I only deal with one or two of those, so I don't really have too many quality problems relating to that, although I have had to fire a machine shop or two over the years. I also import a lot from China, and I do a lot of fixing what I import from China around here. It's be a long time before they take over my industry. But really, no, my materials aren't my major issues. Material loss here is mostly because people start out doing something, they use it wrong, and they've expended material, and we can no longer recover it. So it's usually human error around here, not quality.
You control. Just go with that.
I pay 4 people pretty much full-time out of my manufacturing staff of 20 to monitor what's being built by the remaining 16 people. That's about a 25% ratio for quality control. That's kind of high for a lot of industries. For mine, it's not. We keep airplanes in the air, and they kind of touchy about that. But that's a little higher than most. But for me, it's a necessary expense because our parts are custom. They are all different, and it's a high learning curve compared to somebody in the mass production business. I'm highly regulated in where I shop from. Okay. If I want to go buy magnet wire or something, I have to make sure that they build to an internationally accepted specification that my customers are comfortable with. And I have to buy through authorized distribution only to prevent counterfeit parts from sneaking into my material chain. So I basically have to buy direct from an approved manufacturer or from an approved distributor that works for that manufacturer. It's extremely rare that I get to just go pick a vendor myself.
Okay.
After that, I rate vendors on price, quality, and delivery. I want the cheapest price I can possibly get with acceptable quality, and it's here when I need it. The biggest thing is around here watching it in real time. If I just summarize, my people fill out timekeeping paperwork. If I waited till the job left, sometimes I'm building 1,000 of something. If I'm losing $1 on each one, why do I want to wait till I get to the last piece to find out I was losing $1? And if somebody would turn their cutters around and use them the right way, that I would save that $1 on every one. So our trick is we try and catch it in the first 5 or 6 rather than the 1,000th.
Do you ever vary the time that you set, the standard that you set to output products?
I change them all the time.
Okay.
I change them all the time. We try and be fair. The first time out, it's a guess. I mean, the engineers take a look at it based on similar parts. We basically pull an educated guess out of thin air and says, this is what we think it'll take.
Okay.
People come back and say, wow, you gave us too much sometimes. Sometimes they say, what were you guys thinking? This part's, tiny, and we can hardly hang on to it, and we have to do all this to it. Well, our picture, it was, this big, and it all looked real easy. And we adjust them. We try and run maybe a batch or 2, so we've gotten a chance to get a feel for it. And then we'll set our times at the average of what the people are actually able to pull off. So their times are based on their actual performance. And then we adjust them as we get new tools or equipment. Often we can improve them, and then we'll tighten the times up a little.
Inspect's job a little bit as far as their piece of quality control.
They're cops. Inspectors are cops. What I expect my inspectors to do is verify the paperwork is correct in the box, look at the parts, make sure that what I asked my operators to do was done correctly. All of the parts are in the box. And then the quality standard comes into place, the actual physical appearance of the work. In addition to just cutting the leads to a certain length, are the cuts straight? Are they the same length? Does it look right? If you line them all up, do they look like 100 little soldiers that are nearly all identical when you pile them out there, things like that?